Welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. Hi, I'm Jerri Heid, Youth Services Manager at your library, and I'm here today to talk about something that happens in the fall. You know, school is started and the air is a little bit crisper than it was a couple weeks ago, and the Iowa State University students are back in session. And with that, helps us at the library put on some fabulous programs that we weren't able to before. And those programs are with the learning communities at Iowa State University. And I have two guests here that are experts in those learning communities. And so let's go ahead and start out and introduce yourself. So we'll start right over here. And so go ahead and tell us your name and what you do and what is a learning community.
Thanks. My name is Heather Kruger, and I am an academic advisor at Iowa State University. I've been there for, this is my second year as an advisor, and I help coordinate the freshman learning community at Iowa State.
My name's Alicia Edwards, and this is my 5th year as an academic advisor at Iowa State. I too coordinate a learning community, but mine is for the transfer and change of majors that come into our program, and it is called Future Teachers, Future Leaders.
So those are, we've used a couple terms that maybe our public doesn't know. So academic advisor, what does that mean?
Well, an academic advisor, what our job basically is to make sure that our students move through our program on time. We help them get into schedules. We help them with the transition, maybe from high school to college or from a community college or a different major into our major. Our goal is to be a resource for them, just making everything go as smoothly as we can as they are coming into our program or are in our program.
And as an outsider looking in, and since I've learned about the learning communities and the academic advisors, way back when in the ancient days before, you know, dirt was even dirt, we didn't have, I mean, I had an academic advisor, but they just made your schedule and here it is. And there's a lot of more personableness of this process. And my one word would be success, to make their Iowa State experience successful.
Absolutely.
And so they can achieve their goals, which that's a whole long story. We won't go into that one, which I wasn't successful at Iowa State, but I was other places, but and when I got older yet.
Right.
So we have the freshmen and we have transfer students needing help. And then we have this learning community, which I understand is relatively new, kind of, 1995. I believe.
I think something like that.
And like 60-some thousand students have been through the learning community. So I'm not sure until we got to be partners if I knew about it. So I bet some of our audience doesn't know what a learning community is, because it kind of takes that academic advisor to the next step, right?
Right, exactly. Heather, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have peer mentors for each of our learning communities. The freshman learning community has 8, and the transfer and change of major has 5. And so our goal is to get students connected and get them orientated to the college, as well as they have access to advisors twice a week in class. And our goal is really just to form a community with them and to make a large campus feel smaller, like a hometown community type of thing.
And I think it's just fantastic. So when you're talking about a smaller community for the incoming freshmen, about how many students do you have?
I currently have about 110 freshmen
And the
in
transfer
elementary
students?
education.
This fall we have around 100, and then in the spring we have about 70 who join us, and so we have our learning community both fall and spring due to the number of semesters.
We've got some wonderful things that are going on. So in addition to that support too, and that's where the library comes in at, I think, in our partnership, is where both learning communities have a special project that they work toward. and do. In the past couple of years, that one has been called Bookland, and that's where we bring our books alive, and the learning community groups bring their books alive. So these mentors are divided among the learning community, freshmen and transfer students. And what on your side, I know I'll come in and talk about what Bookland is and how we've done it in the past. So what happens on your side after that conversation happens?
So what we will do is we will, in our small peer mentor groups, is we will have the students get together and plan. What do we need to do to plan for our activity? What kind of materials do we need? What are some of our ideas that we're going to try to implement? Hopefully making it more hands-on rather than kind of paper worksheet type activities. We want it to be something that does actually bring that book to life for those children that come in. And so the kids, it's a great time for them, our students, to be able to kind of maybe for the first time put a little mini lesson together, or an activity specifically for children. So it's a great opportunity for them to get to work with kids right away as soon as they come to Iowa State.
And I know you're relatively new about putting this all together, but you were very helpful last year and part of that. So as a new person coming in, what kind of comments or successes do you think the students had, or aha moments?
Yeah, I think a lot of our students just learned what it's like to actually, like Alicia said, put a little mini lesson together, something for students of all ages. They choose books from different levels so that they have a wide variety of age levels covered. And it's just a great experience for our students. That's something that they all say that they love the most about the class. When we ask what's your favorite thing about the freshman learning community, it was probably 80% of them said the Bookland activity, because it does get them in their field, working with children, teaching them something. So,
and it's a little bit different than in a classroom situation too, because it's open to the public, and you never know what age group or what kind of interactions you're going to have. So Alicia, can you talk about a little bit about the planning and with the peer mentors, what you help with the peer mentors with, and then what they do? Because it's kind of a give it forward type of actions that's happening.
So with the peer mentors, I give them all lesson plans, so to speak, so that when they go to their small group, I am able to ensure that they know exactly what the plan is for that day. And so when they are you talking specifically now about?
Well, you can talk, because I think the whole process is Bookland is just a part of this whole semester-long experience, which, again, a success comes to my mind, that you give them some confidence in what they're doing, and you see whether or not that the passion that they have should come out, and if that doesn't happen, then they also know that maybe this isn't the place that they should be. So they're, even if they choose not to be in the teaching world, there's still success there, because they figured that out before they became a teacher, or went 4 years to college and found that out.
Right. So kind of the way our whole learning community is set up, large group happens on Tuesday maybe, and small group then with their maybe 15 to 20 students happens on Thursday, or sometimes, as in the case of my class, it might be a large group altogether and then small group to follow that same day. Just kind of varies depending upon the topic. But we give the students a lesson plan so that they have some ideas of questioning that they can be asking the students, what it is that we are trying to teach that day. Any handouts, all of those things are pretty much given to them, and then it's the peer mentor's job in those small groups then to kind of make what we say come to life, just as any teacher does, making lessons come to life. And so it's pretty structured. We meet throughout the semester, touch base and see how things are going, and then kind of have it chunked out. So first month, we've already taken care of that. Although getting ready for Bookland, I want to meet again.
Major
just
thing.
to touch base, make sure we're all on the same page. So we're going to meet next week, actually. And then we'll meet again at the end to try and see what went well, what didn't go so well, those kinds of things. So we stay very involved with our peer mentors, keeping them on track, want to know problems, celebrations, concerns that they might have about students and making that transition so we can reach out.
And so where did these peer mentors come from?
They come from the previous semester. Heather's case, they were freshmen last year, a majority of them.
Yep, I actually have 4 that are actually juniors, so 4 who were peer mentors last year, and then I have 4 new peer mentors this year. So it's great because the new peer mentors have a mentor as well, someone who's done that. But the goal with the peer mentors is they've been in the shoes of the students who are in the class, and so we have them to help those students transition and orientate themselves to campus, and we think that helps with the retention as well. You say success and we say retention because we want our students to be successful, and if we are retaining them in the program, then we feel like we're being successful.
Right, and with my students, I try to get a mix of change of majors, students who've transferred from a community college, and the non-traditional student who might be a mom, who might be somebody who,
That would have been me.
so who might be somebody too who has already received their degree from somewhere but decide they want to come back and be a teacher. So when we look to hire our peer mentors, we are looking for kind of a balance to represent all of the different populations that are in elementary education. And I typically, because of the I can think of the word I'm trying to come up with, the path of a transfer student or a change of major, a little faster paced. And so typically I have to hire students every semester given just the situation of what we're going on.
Well, it's a fascinating part of, I love the learning communities, and I'm so excited that we do the partnering that we do. So let's go ahead and jump to what we're doing to the library, since that we are a library show here. So
Sounds good.
Bookland is, again, one of those where we have like stations around the library, and each station is a group of peer mentor and a group of learning community students that have designed how to put this book to life. So if it's a biography, they might dress up as, like, let's say Abe Lincoln. They dress up as Abe Lincoln, so that character comes alive.
Right.
They have some sort of activity that the people that are, the families that are coming around can participate in, and if it's a short enough book, they might even read part of the book to them. So that experience is going around, those families are going around and doing that. We have a couple that are open to the public that the freshman students do, and usually it's a Saturday, a Sunday, and a Monday night.
Yes.
It's an evening and a weekend, and for a couple hours that the library is just full of activity and families coming in. And then we also have, based on the same type of thought process, our transfer students do a special evening with our English as second language learners throughout the Ames School District. So it's kind of a 3-way partnership that way too. So, but in addition to those days then, because we have so many students, we're also planning something new this year with our transfer students. And Alicia, do you want to speak to that a little bit about the Science Sundays?
Exactly. We are super excited to be a part of this year. It's called STEM Sundays, and the students will be given lessons and on various topics having to do with STEM. And STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And so our students will be given lessons, and then just, again, making those lessons come to life and lots of hands-on activities for students so that they can get excited about all of those different subject areas having to do with STEM topics. And I want to say some of the lessons, I think there's parachutes.
I was thinking that parachute.
Yeah, parachutes, and there's Play-Doh.
Circuits. Circuits
Yeah.
is another one.
And
there's
gosh,
5 of them.
there are 5. Actually, I think there's 6 now, since
6
we're going to
now,
do
okay.
the 6 Sundays.
6 Sundays.
Gosh, there's
But when you say student, I'm sure we'll think of the topics here
Yes.
very soon.
Yes.
Because it's always after the
Exactly.
fact, right? But the students you're talking the college students
college
or the
students.
university students will put this together.
Yes.
And those programs are going to be upstairs in the, up in the Rotary Room and up on the 2nd floor. So we'll have to kind of look for those moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas and go on up there on a Sunday afternoon, starting the end of September and going
Yes.
through all of October. And so they'll put together this lesson that's already kind of formed.
Right.
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 From and where were they created at?
They were created by professors at Iowa State and actually have been used during the course of the summer, I believe, with other libraries around the state.
Throughout the summer.
And so they are tried and true, ready to go. And so really excited about our students having that chance again to be able to teach that first lesson to children so early on in the program. Because I think, too, with both of our students being involved with kids so early on, it lets them know sooner rather than later that yes, this is again our major that we want to pursue, and not get to their junior year and say, oh my gosh, I'm working with kids for the first time and this is not what I want to do. So it's a great opportunity. I think it's a win-win for both the children of Ames and as well as our students at Iowa State.
And in a secondary goal, and purely a library goal, besides having the program here and having them bring the books to life and making it a really fantastic program and experience for them, is that I think the students, university students, also get to hear about how their public library should play a part in their education degree and their educating of other students when they get to the communities they are. And that's purely my own my own goal for the students.
I am right there with you because when I was a student, I loved coming to the Ames Public Library to study and find books that I needed for my classes, and all of the time I'm telling the students, take advantage of this library, because I said it's amazing.
And not just Ames. I mean, the library in anyone's community should be the heart of the community, especially in the education and the students. And if the teachers are loving the library, then the library gets loved by their students too. So again, a win-win situation. Wonderful connections with the school, with Iowa State University and the Department of Education. We couldn't make such successful programs without you. And I'd like to end our program today with a wonderful story that we had, and it was not this last year's Bookland, but I believe
it was last
Was it
year's,
last year's
yes.
Bookland?
Yes.
And it was one of the groups had chosen Curious George, a book about Curious George and the delivering newspapers. And if you know Curious George, he does lots of curious things and gets into lots of trouble. So he was delivering these newspapers, and he decides, because he gets bored delivering them to people, he decides to make boats out of them. And so he makes paper boats, and then he sails them in the water. And so that's what the learning community group did, was they set up a little baby pool here, and they made paper boats, and they sank or they
Floated.
The boats, and this young person was only like 3 or 4 years old, and the dad was with them, and they made the boat, and the little boy got up after that and asked dad where the boat books were at in the nonfiction. They went over there. He got a book that showed what happened or what they experienced, and he took it over to, I believe it was the peer mentor of the group, and showed her what they had just done. And that is the connection that we want to make. And we want that connection for the adult or the teacher that's making those connections, and we want that connection to happen with our child and with the parents to see all that. Because books are more than just reading. Subtly, they do lots of different things, and in this case, it helps them learn different types of experiences. So come and visit us with Bookland and our STEM Sundays, and we'll see you then. And until next time, happy reading.